Good evening. America is the land, the nation of plenty, the richest country in the history of the world. But we have real numbers tonight on the staggering increase in people barely getting by. In a new report today, the government says 44 million Americans now live in poverty. 4 million joined the list just last year. And that means 1 out of every 7 people we pass on the street could be struggling for basic needs like food. David Muir has been looking at what these numbers really mean. David.
Diane, 1 in 7, it really is something. These new numbers offer a stunning portrait of just how many American families struggling to hold on to their place within the middle class have watched as that spot has now slipped from their reach.
It is the largest number of Americans living in poverty since they began keeping track 50 years ago, an increase of 4 million in just 1 year.
People who used to be solidly middle class, who are now looking over that cliff into the abyss.
The government puts the poverty line at just under $22,000 a year for a family of 4. Today we learned that with the recession stealing jobs, the number of Americans without health insurance now has climbed to nearly 51 million, 4.4 million more in just a year. And today, the rescue mission in Los Angeles told us they're seeing it. Tents set up for families in the back of their chapel.
This is one of those tents, and inside one of these, up to 4 people in one family will sleep here at night.
The number of tents has multiplied from a half dozen a year ago to nearly 60 today. And something else in the report today, more than a third of those in poverty are children. We could not forget that video, the high schoolers in California, the faces behind this new report.
We're like 4 months behind rent. And just, I have my brothers. They might be homeless pretty soon.
We have followed Chris Schultz since that video. His father was out of work, his mother a teacher's assistant, barely making the rent. And their refrigerator?
It's pretty slim, right?
Yeah, we usually have butter, but we don't have butter this time, so. I eat lunch at school, and I guess that's another reason why I like going to school, because, I get food at school and stuff, so. What can you do, right?
Keeps you going.
Yeah, keeps me going. And then pushing to my refrigerator, No, that's empty right there.
There's nothing in the freezer.
Nothing in the freezer at all, nothing.
Today we learned his father is still looking for work. Chris is now in the Army, learning mechanical skills to bring home, and waiting his little brother.
Is your big brother?
Yeah.
Do you love him?
Yeah.
After a storm, the sun comes out,
The sun comes out.
Yeah, the sun always comes out, no matter what.
Such an inspiration to us as we followed him this last year. And Diane, the experts I talked with today said, had unemployment benefits not been extended last year when they were putting these numbers together, we'd have to tack on another 3 million Americans to this number.
And the food banks, of course, are putting out pleas for help as well. But David, we want to bring in Melody Hobson now, ABC News financial contributor, president of Ariel Investments in Chicago. Because Melody, as you look at the report, what's the number that is the most telling for you?
What is most shocking to me is that for an individual to be considered to be living in poverty, they make $10,830 or less in the course of a year. And yet there are so many people out there who are making minimum wage, $7.25 an hour, working a full work week, which is 2,000 hours a year, barely scraping by on the $14,500 that comes from that work every year, which means that people are worse off than even we may think.
That's right. There's so many people who are not officially in that number. 9.6% unemployment, as David was saying, and we're looking at the optimum of 4.6%. How many jobs does that represent for a healthy economy?
With 15 million people unemployed, we need to add about 5 million jobs to get to 6% unemployment.
And are you seeing anything out there that seems alive, that gives you hope?
I think the story is innovation. It's not any one industry, it's innovation. Let's look at an obvious place, technology. Apple in the last 5 years has added 24,000 jobs to their company. Along the way, they've invented the iPad, the iPhone, the App Store. Lots and lots of innovation created lots and lots of jobs.
All right, Melody, thank you so much. And again, your food banks are all asking for help. A lot we can do for each other in these times.